Hi, everybody. I'm once again Jason Victor Serenas from Stereophile. I'm here with Dan D'Agostino and Josh Dellinger of D'Agostino Master Systems. And are here to talk about the new Pendulum Integrated, correct?
Yes.
About which I know nothing. So
Perfect.
I turn it over to you,
Yeah.
please. But I do have a question to help guide this, which is that I know about the progression. I know, et cetera, all the way up to Relentless. But where does this whole concept fit? We'll start there, and then I'll ask I know what I'll ask after that.
So, I think that everybody does integrated amplifiers that has an audio company. They all think it's an answer. And I too had made an integrated amplifier too. Starting out with the MXV, which is a recent one, which was a really wonderful integrated amplifier. But I wanted to reach a few more customers that might like our product that don't have room and would like an integrated amplifier. So I thought about what would I do if I really wanted to make an integrated amplifier that had no real shortcomings, but in a lower price range. And so I started to think, I certainly can't use the complications of the circuitry and the Relentless or the Momentum or so I wanted to do something different that would kind of make a statement for integrated amplifiers. So it's a totally radical circuit design. Uses not so many parts, pretty small parts. But we have a very interesting circuit, which I believe would be patentable if I ever wanted to patent anything again, which I won't. But
Why? Because is it such a hassle?
gives you, I mean, any engineer will tell you when you do a patent, you have to do a disclosure, and disclosure could be as vague as you want, but the genesis of the idea is infinitely copyable in a different manner. And protecting a patent is like one of the dumbest things you can do if you're a small manufacturer. So I don't patent anything. So this is a unique product in that aspect. So what I was really looking for was how good can I make the sound? And that was a major undertaking. And once I figured how to do the circuit, we listened and we were really mightily impressed, which I believe anyone who listens to this unit will be. I mean, it's definitely part of our product line. It's not a inexpensive version of a cheaper product. It's a real product that was designed to stand alone, which every part and every circuit and every component that's in there was measured and used to its extraordinary event that it could produce.
So if this is a completely different circuit that then is in either progression or momentum relentless,
Yes.
is there a possibility that you will sometime in the future, you may not want me to ask this question, but I'll ask it anyway, expand it and move up with this circuit farther up the line?
And I don't want anyone to misunderstand. This circuit, for instance, isn't better than the circuit in a momentum unit or in the Momentum MXV or in a Relentless. No, it's not better in every manner, but it is when you build something. And I don't want to say that a unit that sells for $18,000 is a bargain basement product. So I didn't want to make a bargain basement product. What I made is a product that sells for a lower price that has exemplary performance. It doesn't share anything with any of my other products. And can I make it bigger? It may not be able to be made bigger.
Got it. And would you say that you have a signature sound and that you were aiming for the sound? When you developed this, to what extent were you going, well, I kind of know the answer to this, but it's good to have it on video. Were you going by measurements or were you going by sound?
I'm going by sound.
Yeah.
In fact, when I did the first Momentum amplifier 12 years ago, I didn't own any test equipment. I had an oscilloscope and an ohm meter, didn't have a distortion analyzer, And I designed that circuit to listen. And I did it by listening. It took 6 or 8 months of listening. I even invited my friends to listen. And until I got something that I thought was extraordinary, and that's what I went with. But fortunately, when I did measure it, it measures pretty good. But I never looked for measurements. I'm not looking for distortion. I mean, as distortion as we know it in test equipment, it's almost irrelevant in audio. It's a number.
And can you explain that, what that means?
What that means to me is that if you look at many, many products out there, I won't go into names, but some of them have 3 zeros, some of them have 4 zeros and a number at full power. And I go, wow, that's awesome. But I don't think they sound very good. And I mean, in distortion, in essence, from any engineer, is comparative to an input to an output. But it's not musical. I mean, there's no music coming into it. So you have to develop some methods to measure that are not necessarily analytical.
Right.
So they also, you have to set a standard, has to operate within the standard. But to go and look for low distortion products, I mean, any really mediocre engineer can make a very low distortion product. It's not hard to do. There's no magic in it. It's just a matter of how you approach a circuit, where you apply feedback, feedback on top of feedback. I mean, there's all kinds of stuff, nested, enclosed. There's every kind of feedback in the world can be applied in an amplifier all at once, and you can get super low distortion. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can use input-output comparators, you can do feedback, and there's a million things. You get super low distortion. But in my opinion, I never had a good sounding amplifier that did that way.
This is great, because I've interviewed you many times, but it's never been this juicy, and I'm really glad that it's caught on camera.
But for me, when I listen right now, I'm not a young guy. I've been doing this a long time. Mm-hmm. I want the same satisfaction out of this within its parameters that I get out of a Relentless. I want the satisfaction that when I sit down and I'm listening to tracks that I know on a speaker system that I know. I mean, we listen to this on LXVs, mm-hmm. and we make an assessment that this is a good sounding amplifier.
It's great.
And it doesn't, as I said, share anything with anything else we have.
So would you go on from making an integrated to using this kind of circuit maybe in making a stereo amp or making monoblocks or anything like that?
We've talked about it, but its power output is limited in its present state.
Got it. So what is its power out?
25 watts.
So it's 100, yeah, it's 120 and 2.8, and that's going to double into 4, so 240.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. So in its present state, it's limited. So what is, if I may push you a little, what does that mean? I mean, because there are always future states.
Yeah, but I mean, and again, if you perceive a product as a whole, like gain block, and that gain block has all the parameters that makes that work extremely efficiency, extremely well in that configuration. You can't take that configuration and put an air pump in it and blow it up.
Got it.
It doesn't work that way. Particularly if I mean, there are plenty of circuits that you can make a 50-watt amplifier out of and make a 500-watt amplifier without really changing anything except the power supply. That's not me. That's not what I do. I would never do it. So if you listen to all of the products we build, from this product to the next product, if you listen to this and compare it to Momentum Integrated, the sounds will be slightly different, but the Momentum Integrated will win you over every single time. And if you go from Momentum Integrated to separates, the Momentum series, that again, and then go from Relentless to the next one, because I conceive these designs not based on the price, but based on how much room I have within the product and the boundaries.
Right.
And I'm not looking to save any money because all the components in the Pendulum cost me the same amount of money as all the components in a Relentless. I use the same parts.
We use the same output devices as we use in Relentless, same types of capacitors.
It's all about configurations. How efficiently can I make this? My goal is to make this so we can assemble it extremely quickly. Mm-hmm. Okay, and not only the way the parts are arranged, the way the circuit's arranged, the fact that the circuit is made in such a way that it's not finicky. It doesn't require, this board doesn't measure right. None of the boards we build in there they all measure the same. So therefore, we get the same results all the time. And that's the most important thing to me when you make a less expensive product. But this doesn't have any more or any less engineering time than some of my better products. I mean, it really has a lot of engineering time in it. There's a lot of time in it. And there's a lot of time of listening, saying, yeah, no, maybe, and going back and forth until we refine the process. So if I listen to something on my system at home, which is a very big system, and I bring that product there and listen to it, I'm listening to the musical cues that the two things produce. I don't want to know how they get there, but I want the same feeling from the music I'm listening to go from that to the relentless. I want the same thing. And it's not tonality. It's about reaching into the music, getting the depth and the perspective of the actual recording itself. I want to hear the noise floor. I want to hear the depth. I want to hear the things in the background. I want to hear the musicians in the background that are making noise on most other equipment. I want to hear them play tones. I want to hear that music. And I get that out of that product.
That's great. That's great. Because I just said I went into the Magico M9s with the 800 Relentless monoblocks and the Relentless preamp.
16 and 800.
So the
Oh, there's
1600,
1600?
yeah, the Epic 1600s is on the woofers.
Oh, on
so
the
they're
woofers.
they're
No, it's
biamping.
on the mains.
They put them on the mains.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Well, there you
It's even
go.
more impressive.
Well,
Okay.
you see, because here you have what's like King Kong of an amplifier that can play in such a delicate manner that you would put it on the top. Because in most cases, more powerful amplifiers are less delicate. That's not what I'm doing.
Right. And I totally hear that because I just sat there going, oh my God, this sounds like music. This is so beautiful. And all the little analytical things that I would do as a reviewer, checkbox. I didn't bother with any of that stuff. I just sat there and going, oh God, this is so wonderful. So it was a great experience. And it's thrilling to hear that, because I really haven't heard this, that we can get some of that from here. So we said 16,000, 18,000. We should end with, what is the list price of this baby?
Yes, yeah. So the Pendulum has a couple of different configurations. So as it stands, the analog only, because it is a modular design. So you have the option to configure with a digital section or an analog phono section. So the base price for analog only is 16,000. If you'd like to add the digital streaming module, that's another 2,500. And that's really the way that we envision most customers will want to do that, because then it gives you all the flexibility in one box and all those creature comforts. And then also with the new Vision remote, when you have the DSM module, the digital streaming module, that will also feed metadata into the remote itself and on the display. So again, those extra types of creature comforts that are associated with a product that we want to be that's relatively innovative, because this also with this new remote design, also it's the first time using a display on the front that's mirroring that same iconic meter that Dan loves to use
Right.
on all of our other products. But yes, and then there's the phono module, it's moving coil, and that has 75 dB of gain.
So it's
and that's
not moving magnets, just moving
just
coil.
moving coil.
Okay,
It has 75 dB of gain, and that's $1,000. So fully loaded, you're looking at 19.5.
got it. And confession on camera, you just reminded me that I took all the notes on the digital module, the DSM, and I never did that follow-up. Oh my goodness.
Well, we have to revisit that.
We do.
Well, we got to get you a new remote anyway.
We do, right.
Yeah, that's great.
Great. Okay.
So going back to what the design parameter was, we didn't have a thing like, well, let's make it inexpensive, easy to build, and if you want better stuff, buy a bigger one. We didn't do that. I wanted you to be very satisfied with your audio hearing palette with the sound of what that's making.
Got it. And you wanted to show the remote?
Yeah, this is our new Vision remote. So this is shipping on the Pendulum. So this is our standard remote. So you can see this is a bi-directional two-way remote control that's going to mirror exactly what's on the front display. So it's really simple, incredibly ergonomic as well. So you could just do micro adjustments by turning, and you can see that it's reflected on the display as well over there. And then it's a simple input is you have rotary and you have press. And then once you go here, you can select your inputs. So it's very intuitive, extremely simple, and everything's just controlled right here on the front display. Now this is shipping on some other products as well, but it originated with the Pendulum. So not only do we downsize and we look at different circuits, but we also innovate up as well. So we
Great.
see where we can do different technologies, and Dan does this with his other innovations. It's just as a circuit that we were discussing.
This is great. I think next time I interview you for another product review, I'm going to do a video because I'm getting this great stuff. You're saying this really great stuff that I really appreciate. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
And yay.